For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. NewsSpin is on Power 97.9 FM, and the broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. We go up until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Jante is there going through your comments in the chat room, and of course I'll be entertaining your calls via 452-2979, 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And here is hoping that you're having yourself an enjoyable Wednesday. As we please ask you to like the video, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click the notification bell to help the NewsSpin channel grow. The latest regarding the Joy St. Omer murder, an update. Primus Toussaint, her estranged husband, has been formally charged with her murder, and that incident took place on May the 20th of 2026. Toussaint, 34, of Canaries, appeared before a magistrate on the 25th of May, and he has been remanded in custody at the Bordelais Correctional Facility until the 30th of June. So the latest regarding the murder of Joy St. Omer, and this incident unfortunately occurring on the 20th of May 2026, and she leaves to mourn, apart from her parents and other relatives, a 2-year-old girl, her 2-year-old daughter. Imagine at this point in time, none the wiser as to what transpired, but she would be, I'm sure, asking, where is my mommy? Where is my mommy? You'll be hearing from former government minister Sarah Flood Bobra, called the broadcast yesterday and suggested that we have a commission of inquiry into that sad and tragic incident, because we continue to hear that the system failed this 24-year-old. The system also failed Valerie Lord. The system also failed Valinda Joseph. The system has also failed Kimberly DeLeo, among others. It's a time for this to be addressed satisfactorily so that we do not have a repetition. So she has made a suggestion, and we'll be hearing from her during the course of our program, which goes up until 2 o'clock this afternoon. I have been, unfortunately, leaving you, Shante, out of the discussion. Let me hear from you. What's your take on this whole thing? Because, you know, as you drive around the St. Lucia, you walk around the island, you go to different places, that is what is being discussed, relationships. And unfortunately, all men are being painted with the same tar brush. Some men have to defend themselves, and you have a lot of men who are defending other men on social media, saying that not all of us are that kind of deranged, out of control animal that people perceive us to be. But your general take on this whole matter involving Joy St. Omer?
I think obviously,
as a young woman, of course.
Obviously, it's a very touchy topic in all regards, especially as, again, a young woman.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really shines a light on the stuff that we try to ignore on a daily basis. But in regards to all men being painted in the same light, I think it's unfair, because in the bunch, while every man has their own issues, that's a fact, as would any other human being. However, to suggest that all men are that deranged is unfair, and it's unheard of.
But how has this impacted you as a young lady and relationship-wise?
I think it changes the way that you look at stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you second guess a lot. So
to the extent you become paranoid?
In occasions, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now, with everything going on, it's now you're 10 times more observant of stuff that happen around you. Whilst it did not happen to you, it was a young lady. So it's you now start to compare and find similarities between her life, your life. Where did she go wrong so that I don't go wrong and end up there? It's
What about young men now who are hesitating about approaching this beautiful young lady that they have feelings for? I mean, I can't imagine this at this time.
I think it also makes it harder on men as well, because now they don't know how to approach certain females because they never know what they're thinking.
And the females have their guards up, right?
Hi. But I think it's a matter of, as a man approaching a situation, especially after something so touchy, it takes time, but at the same time, you need to approach it with a level of delicacy, because you cannot just rush onto somebody or just approach them very, not aggressively, but with too much
aggression.
Aggression. Sometimes too, even the way that they approach it may not be aggressive, but it's a lot at once. So the way you approach somebody,
subtlety.
Especially for the first time, there's a way to go about it. Or they push on the fact can I get a number? Can I get a number? Take the first no.
My producer is smiling.
Take the first no.
Okay, let's put it this way. As somebody who's not so experienced, and I'm just listening to you now, be more strategic.
That.
But what good can come out of this? And it's very sad I have to put it this way. You could think of the way nothing good can come out of this, etc. But I think it's a learning experience for all. The so-called system that we do not want to put a face to, because somebody sent me a WhatsApp message in that regard yesterday, because talking about the system, does it have a face, does it have a name? And that is why we keep repeating the same, we go through the same problems, the same travails. We don't look to address those issues because we blame it on the system. And the system does not operate on its own. So how do we ensure that this does not happen again? Up to yesterday, I was driving, I got a call. And it was a young lady who called, and she was desperate. And she was saying for a while now, she has been in this relationship, it's not working. She has gotten a protection order after protection order. The guy has flouted this, and yet still nothing is happening. She's literally afraid for her life. The so-called system, your family court, your human services department, your AG department, the police, I think by now they should have set up a date where they can meet around the table and say, this is how we're going to deal with these issues. Deal with them as if it's an emergency. Every case, deal with it as if it's an emergency, because the evidence is there that where those so-called protection orders have been flouted, where people have simply been told, go back to your home, everything will be okay, it has ended up where a lot of those women have lost their lives. I mean, long before you were born, Mary Ratcliffe and so many other cases. Why aren't we learning? It says something about us as a people when we're not learning from what we deem to be errors. After a while, it no longer is an error. It's deliberate. You're just ignoring the problem.
I think as much as we blame the system, we as a people have to blame ourselves.
But who is manning the system? Somebody is manning the system,
Someone is manning the system, given. But the thing is, we have advocacy. We have a democratic system where some people don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to that, I think a lot of us as people don't know the rights that we have to change those systems that are not serving us.
Well said. Because the leader of the opposition, I think, made that same point yesterday. The people can make a difference. Don't tell me, as Rick would normally say, you're taking it in the neck. You're always taking it in the neck. You're the one who's always being directly impacted. But yet still, you do not see the need for you to act, especially acting in unison, acting together, to force the so-called system to work to your benefit, because you're the ones impacted. I mean, those prominent people and powerful people, and they hate to hear that, but the government ministers, they have the security at their disposal. You understand? They have they're secure in their homes to a certain extent. The police secure to a certain extent. Is the ordinary people who are left to fend for themselves, who have to look after look at their own protection. They apply for a license to carry a firearm and all kind of problems. They ask you if you have a home, if you have businesses, what possessions do you have, what do you own, as if you want the firearm to protect those things. But it's your life you want to protect. And that is why, and the Prime Minister alluded to that, I think that's why so many people now have their unlicensed firearm. I think they prefer to appear before a magistrate for being in possession of an illegal firearm and say, I'm guilty and this is the reason why I have the illegal firearm, than for them to be accosted by someone and they can't protect themselves. You call the police. Takes an eternity before the police react or respond to you. Those are the issues that we really need to address. We need to get to the bottom of those issues, and we need to find solutions to them, because just saying to people, do not have an unlicensed firearm, do not have ammunition that you cannot account for, etc., legally, I don't think it will cut it, because people are very, very, they don't like that again, people are afraid. And when you're afraid, what you do?
You protect yourself, you put up your guard. So again, for those stuff, I think the only way to curb unlicensed firearm possession in some cases, the cases where people don't have it for illegal activities, you have to, again, back to the system, fix that system so that people have faith and trust in that system that you have in place to protect them so that they don't feel the need to have to do it themselves.
It's just like, for example, the transportation system. A lot of people who have vehicles because they cannot rely on the transportation system. You're working in the hotel sector, you leave work at 11 o'clock, you're somewhere by some roadside waiting for a bus to go to your home, and then 7 o'clock you have to report to work, to continue your duties, etc. And I think the police, the authorities need to be a little bit more liberal. I'm not saying that you should not ensure that the right people get the firearms, the proper vetting must be done. But I think there are a lot more law-abiding citizens in St. Lucia who should be given the right to carry a firearm. Things are getting so out of hand right now. I think people must be put in a position where they can protect themselves.
Agreed.
All right. Let us hear now from former government minister, Mrs. Sarah Flood Barbara. And if you consider us to be engaging in some form of advocacy, journalism advocacy, we'll continue in that vein, particularly when it comes to this recommendation that was made yesterday by Mrs. Sarah Flood Barbara, former government minister, for there to be a commission of inquiry to ascertain what transpired, which resulted in 24-year-old Joy St. Omer losing her life. Because we continued to it, the system failed, it failed, she reported to the police, she did everything that's normally recommended in such circumstances, yet still the so-called system failed her. And we don't want this to happen again. So she made a recommendation. We'll play that comment, and believe you me, that is what we'll be pushing on this broadcast over the next few months, over the next few years, to ensure that it does happen. Here is Mrs. Sarah Flood Barbara.
I am calling for a full, independent commission of inquiry, which will be fact-finding, not fault-finding. It will be looking to see at every stage of this process what happened and to make recommendations as to what should have happened. And we'll also identify where the flaws, where the loopholes are in the system, and make recommendations to improve the system. Timothy, if this incident happens, say in Canada or in England, I've lived in England for many years in my life, there would be a full commission of inquiry that would make recommendations on every aspect, on every agency, on every intervention that was made or wasn't made, so that at every level where the system is broken, you would identify what the brokenness is and you would make recommendations. Now, I'm not talking about a commission of inquiry that's not thorough, that's not objective. And I'm not talking about recommendations that will sit on a shelf. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an independent commission, if we have to bring in experts from overseas to do this. And we can get, I'm sure there can be funding for this, so that when this commission of inquiry produces its report, it will investigate and determine at every level, every agency, every official, every person who had contact with Joy, every report she made, it will go through it with a fine-tooth comb and be able to tell us, this is what happened, this is what should have happened, this is what must happen. I think if we do that, we of course cannot bring Joy back. We cannot bring back anyone who's gone through the system and have been let down before, and there have been others before. But that is the best way we can ensure that it doesn't happen again.
I cannot find any fault at all or any reason for me to disagree with the recommendation that was made yesterday via this broadcast by Mrs. Sarah Flood Barbara. And now the onus, the responsibility is that of the Justice Minister, who is the Prime Minister, who is also the Finance Minister, the Office of the Attorney General, civil society in St. Lucia, to ensure that this is done. Because we do not want to find ourselves in a similar situation where we have to report on this, where again we have to, as has been suggested in the past, that the system failed another human being, whether it is a woman or whether it is a man. In life, we make mistakes. Nothing wrong in making mistakes. But if it becomes a habit, that says a lot about us as people who do not want, we're not curious enough, we're not ambitious enough to ensure that we do not repeat those so-called mistakes, because you're supposed to learn from mistakes. And in this particular case, those mistakes are very costly, not in monetary terms, but in terms of people losing their lives. And the implications, long-term implications, the trauma, the grief that parents are being exposed to, loved ones are being exposed to, and in this particular case, a 2-year-old daughter. On that issue, let us hear from former Prime Minister and leader of the parliamentary opposition, Mr. Alan Shastny, who also called NewsSpin yesterday.
We have now a situation where a young girl has lost her mother, and depending on how the case goes, could potentially also have lost her father. Who is going to be there for her? When she goes to sports matches, when she's studying at night, when she's growing up. And until we, as a society, accepts that we must adopt her, and every single child that is in similar circumstances, that we all play our part, and that we know what she's lost, and we feel the pain of what she's lost. I don't think until we do that we're going to see any major changes. We really must appreciate the consequences of the failure of the system. It's so important. But if we just say it's another murder, we sympathize and we empathize, then we're not going to feel the urgency to change it.
Leader of the parliamentary opposition and opposition Prime Minister, Mr. Alan Shastny, who also called yesterday's broadcast. We have yet to hear from some of the leading female voices in St. Lucia. Find it strange? And as a result, what should we read into that? How should we read into that? What should we deduce from that? And if you want to play politics by remaining quiet, it does not make sense, you know. If you speak out, if you come to the fore, the same way you want to call this broadcast from time to time and chastise me and take me on in defense of your party, the St. Lucia Labour Party, why not call and be genuine about it? You only take an interest in things of that nature on the heels of a general election, if you want to just defend your party. Those of you who are watching this broadcast and listening, don't you find it strange? We have not heard from the leading females in this country. The president of the Senate is a female, Alvina Reynolds. You've heard from her? Anything at all? Alison Jean. a government senator, another female. You've heard anything from her? Lisa Jawayer, have you heard anything from her? Among the other leading female voices in St. Lucia. Not a word. And for me, this is too palpable. This is too glaring. And people ought to read a lot into this. You people are too opportunistic. You're too opportunistic. And you wonder why we should have, and I've been saying this for years, why should we have women in position in St. Lucia on the basis, on the feeling, the anticipation that they will look after the interests of less fortunate women? Why do that? Why should we even work towards having a female prime minister just because we want to have a female prime minister? What will we gain from that, based on the evidence, based on the fact that there's a level, in some cases, just tokenism, or those women just say absolutely nothing because they're too busy being in office, too busy holding on to prominent positions in the society. Another female government senator, Dr. Virginia Albert Poleon. Have you heard from her? Come to the fore. Say something. Hold a little rally. After all, a lot of you are old enough to have a 24-year-old daughter. But come the next general election, in 3 years' time, come out and you boast about caring about women. And if an opposing politician says something that you consider to be derogatory about women, you come and you join the bandwagon and you criticize, try to gain political mileage out of that. We are blunt around here. Try to be as responsible as possible, but blunt. Because we're into advocacy journalism. We take a side on certain issues. By your actions, some of you women do not care at all about other women. By your actions and inactions, basically, you just care about being in leadership positions, top positions, but you don't care about other women. You don't. And the evidence is there. As the MC would say, moving right along. Some other issues that we have to discuss. Talking about women again. It took Teresa, and we'll try to locate that clip. It took Teresa, another woman, crying, literally crying, to the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, begging for his intervention because they're about to be thrown out of the vendors arcade, and without any kind of compensation, because they're saying we're going to be out for a while. We are women. We have our families to take care of. We have our bills. Meet us halfway. What we heard, what they were described as, was called a disque. But let's listen to Teresa, and we'll take it from there.
I am pleading for my Prime Minister, Mr. J. Philip Pierre. This is Teresa speaking there. Whatever you have to do for us, do it for us vendors, because vendors are waiting on you, Mr. Philip J. Pierre. I am there waiting for you. All my life I have given you all my vote. I never step down and go anywhere. So you come and see about us, Mr. Philip J. Pierre. It's time for you to talk about us. Say something for us, important for us. I don't have words to say again. It's crying, I don't have words to say. Because it's 40-something years we in the arcade from the time they open and we're there. And then today they throw us out. That's all I have to say. And love you, Philip J. Pierre, and come and see about us.
Come and see about us. Teresa, good afternoon to you. So, after that, we did play a clip. We did the search, we did the digging, and we got a clip of Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre in 2024 saying that the vendors, the tenants, the workers, etc., would not be impacted by this project. Never mind what was said a few weeks ago about not all the vendors will be returning to the arcade. Somehow somebody maybe they don't have much to do in the office of the Prime Minister. They took that clip that I produced. Remember, they did not get that clip. We took it, we got it, we played it on the air, they took it, and they added the Prime Minister to it, and I think they added yours truly to it to create some kind of false narrative and false impression. But we will deal with that. So let's play you that clip.
I want to assure the vendors that the government will always see about the benefit of the people.
But I want to ensure that the tenants are going to, the arrangement, the tenants, none of the tenants are going to be moved. And none of the vendors are going to be moved. The vendors are going to, the existing vendors will remain so that they can ply their trade. There's going to be no displacement of workers, vendors, or tenants.
No displacement of workers, vendors, or tenants. That promise was made by the Prime Minister of St. Lucia 2 years ago. And the Prime Minister, I am sure, will keep his promise.
Some form of financial support will be given to vendors who meet the requirements for that level of support. The government will maintain that the people of St. Lucia must come first. And very shortly, an announcement will be made on the level of support that will be given to the vendors involved.
Of course, I was being sarcastic when I said I know that the Prime Minister will come to the rescue of the tenants. I was putting him on the spot because there was this deafening silence. After the vendors were removed and after certain things were said, we heard nothing at all from the Prime Minister. So the fact that we put the Prime Minister on the spot and played that clip of 2024 when he said that none of those people would be impacted, then he came back later and said he'll be providing a reprieve to the vendors. But remember what was said by the MP for Castries Central and the Minister with responsibility for the CCC. Okay, and every impression has been given that the vendors will not be getting any kind of compensation. So if had we not heard from Teresa, and if NewsSpin did not address that particular issue, I think that would have been the end of that story. But let's take you back to an episode of Can I Help You, hosted by Richard Frederick, and what was said initially.
Today, you all are saying you all will be forced out and you all have bills. And so when there is off-season and you all close, how you all do it? How do you all do it? Which taxi driver you all see operating there during the off-season? There are no cruise ships, none. The only place open in the arcade during the off-season is Monty. And I used to go and have a beverage there off and on. Monty is the only place because he's selling rum. Locals drink anyway. Locals will come and buy the artifacts you'll have there for the tourists. No, they will not. And you all know you all are closed during the off-season. Maison Village. Play this clip for me and you all hiding your faces. Les autres cas di bagay zot. Mete fi jay zot do. Mete fi jay zot do. But I know them anyway. Play this clip for me.
Craft and dry goods vendors say they are being forced out of earning a living for the next month as developer Global Port Holdings shift construction efforts to the section of the Castries waterfront currently known as the Arcade.
On the 15th of this month, May, and we will be back on the 15th of June. That's what they said. But They're sending us home. We have truck to hire, taxi to hire to bring our things home. They don't give us nowhere to put our things. And it's unfair. We have bills to pay. Those that have mortgage, their mortgage, you have children to send to school. You have bills to pay at your home. And they send you at your home not $1. That hurting. It's not fair for us.
Another vendor lamented that the move was prompted without sufficient notice.
Just 2 weeks in advance. So we didn't have enough time at least, to prepare and things. And most of us is at our home will be for the month. At least it should have at least give us something for going home. For a whole month we have bills to pay and things. And we need to know what they're doing about that. The government, if they can do something about that.
By their account, they have not received official confirmation on when relocation will begin. And while discussions about temporary spaces have started, they remain uncertain whether the proposed locations will provide enough room, visibility, or facilities to allow them to continue operating effectively.
They did not, and they did not give a written notice. At least word of mouth does not mean anything. It can be changed. And that is where the problem is.
And have you seen the temporary space that was allocated to you?
No, nobody have not seen it.
Concerns were also raised about what will happen after construction is completed. Vendors question whether they will be guaranteed a return to the redeveloped area once work by GPH is finished.
They said some people will return between the middle of June, but it's not all of us. And what's about those that is there for up to October, and October might be next year? What we doing? So it is unfair.
One vendor explained that the uncertainty surrounding the transition has created anxiety among small business owners who depend on daily sales to survive. Vendors say they hope authorities will provide clearer communication and assurances moving forward.
They send us home. We agree to go home, okay? But after 31 years inside of it, we going at our home, we have our bills, we have children going to school, some of us renting. What are we going to do? Just sit down in the house? Who paying our bill? Don't put my face in that. Who paying our bill? What are we giving our children? How are we managing? And they're not even telling us when we coming back. So I think that is unfair to vendors.
Meanwhile, vendors are calling for greater transparency, proper consultation, and relocation agreements that protect their livelihoods during the redevelopment process. As redevelopment plans continue, vendors say they remain hopeful that a fair solution can be reached, one that balances modernization efforts with the survival of small businesses operating at the vendors' arcade. I'm Christabel Obi reporting for Hot 7 TV News.
Folks, you know what hurts in all of this? How I pay my bills. How do you pay your bills in the off-season? Lela pan boat, how do you pay your bills? Low feme, how do you pay your bills? Saison feme, ifeme, how do you pay your bills? How do you pay your bills? And you're speaking as though people don't know the industry. We know the industry. That is why we decided to effect the repairs during the off-season. How you pay your bills?
So the Prime Minister has intervened, and he will be providing the vendors with some kind of income support to help them pay their bills. And up to yesterday during the pre-cabinet briefing, he also addressed that issue with the vendors, and he revisited that issue, and he promised again to provide some level of assistance to the vendors. Let's hear from the Prime Minister again. That's from
some form of financial support will be given.
Okay. All right, so we don't have the clip, but hopefully maybe before we conclude the broadcast, we'll try to get you that clip of the Prime Minister promising that he'll provide the vendors with some form of compensation. But we've already played you, provided you with information from the Prime Minister himself, indicating again that he will be providing a reprieve to the vendors. We might as well play this clip that we have right now at our disposal.
Some form of financial support will be given to vendors who meet the requirements for that level of support. I want to assure the vendors that the government will always see about the benefit of the people. The government will maintain that the people of St. Lucia must come first. And very shortly, an announcement will be made on the level of support that will be given to the vendors involved.
Prime Minister of St. Lucia, again, providing some level of support to the vendors. And somebody says there via WhatsApp, Merci Bordier pour NewsSpin, the same show and host they vilified coming to their rescue. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And let me see if I have some of your messages to go through. And somebody says, what Philip JPI is not telling you vendors is that it's going to be a specific or special set of people who are qualified or are going to be qualified for that money. With this administration, things are never straightforward. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. It says there, Tim, in one of my messages to you, I asked whether there was a list of new vendors. Remember, when this arcade is completed, the Prime Minister reacted to the pressure from the discussions on the vendors. But keep your eyes open. There will be new tenants, and all the ministers, opposers, and vendors who owe rent will be left out of that arcade. Let's see if we have a call on the landline. In the meantime, let's go through our WhatsApp message. Let's see there. Tim, what you say regarding women in position never cares about other women but themselves. I've observed this a long time ago. It's all about the fame. Money is playing big and rolling with the big boys. There is an old saying, later will be greater, as we are all on this earth have an end. So it's what in the beginning, it shall be in the end. We have a call. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Hi, good day, Timothy. Good day to Jante and your listeners across the world.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Timothy, you know, if you know the Prime Minister, he always one who's very careful with words. Okay, so I heard you saying the vendors. Remember, we cannot say clearly that what Richard said is not what the PM said. Because the PM said, like the text you read, it's some people that would be qualified, right? So you cannot just be saying he will help the vendors. That's the political side of it. The next thing I want to mention, Timothy, I'm looking at where the old fire station was, and I'm not privy to like seeing the exact layout of what is happening there. But from the outside, what I'm seeing there is nothing better than a place where to have a few bus shelters. I mean, this is an opportunity, just like where we have the Anchorage, where the last administration wanted to have a building, to have government offices, and still have the other 2 floors to do pretty much the same thing that's happening now. So I see in those little huts building there, I'm not sure if they're better than what they have to the government building ends, like the little Boston people say. So I think it's a waste opportunity, waste of land, where we could have developed the waterfront. So if that's what GPH is doing, and people calling about development, I'm just waiting to see what will happen with those arcades. If it's those same little hut where when it rains, maybe somebody have to put extra umbrellas. Come on, let's have some proper buildings at the waterfront to say wow when people arrive. Thank you, Timothy.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for calling. WhatsApp message, somebody says there, hello. They all posted one-line statements on their Facebook pages, and that's the most you will get from them. There is no real commitment to tackling serious issues in the country. It's all optics and illusion. Sorry to say. Again, that's according to a WhatsApp message. Let's see if we have some more. Somebody says there, from the time that killing of Joy took place, there has been a hush on who the High Court judge is. So good luck on the call for an inquiry. And another WhatsApp message. Tim, the people who make up the system are part of the system who get paid to do a job. I wonder what they do on a daily basis, because don't tell me it has to take so long to solve or resolve a problem. I find we have to be up and down as if we are begging for services everywhere we go. You have a small case in court and they make you walk and walk until you get frustrated and just leave that alone. All the legs in the system that prevents it from walking should be dealt with. Let's see if you have a call on the line. In the meantime, a WhatsApp message, and somebody says there via WhatsApp: while the police and the Minister for National Security have been focusing on hardware such as vehicles and equipment, which is definitely important, that is not all. A neglected part of policing is getting to the strengthen the human side, empathy, care, interest in the cases, thoroughness, and a proactive approach to all matters. Honestly, I support a national review of Joy St. Omar's case. Let her unnecessary execution have some meaning for a great change in how police handle matters. You remember in Miku, maybe 2 years ago, a guy came to the police station allegedly reporting threats on his life, and the desk police allegedly informed him that a police van was out on another call, so he went to the bus shelter a few yards away and was hacked to death, almost beheaded right there. Tim, the police have successes, yes, but that is not the point. They need to save lives before disaster when they have the opportunity to do so. Maybe our fire service needs to train the police in valuing lives, because the fire service is really doing an excellent job in St. Lucia at being humane in the course of their work. That's according to a WhatsApp message. Let me turn my attention to you, Jante. Let's find out what's happening in the chat room.
Starting off on YouTube, our first comment reads: the police feel joy after the last report. They should have really protected him. United we stand, divided we fall. You think that PJP and the SLP government would ever think of having a commission of inquiry after the killing of Joy St. Omar? They're just as clueless. Another YouTube comment reading: considering that there is an active war here in the Middle East, however, I feel safer here in this part of the world versus being in St. Lucia. What requirements would the vendors have to meet for the financial support from the government? On Facebook, our first comment reads: I need Mercury to give her take on the new water rates Wasco is about to implement in June.
But let's correct that. It's not the case of Wasco implementing. It's the NUC, the National Utilities Regulatory Commission, that will be making that determination on the basis of information that is presented to it, and also on the basis of the consultations that it has been holding, the input coming from members of the public. So it's not Wasco making that determination, but the NUC, and that is something we'll be discussing possibly tomorrow during our NewsSpin broadcast. Continue.
We need to know who is advocating for him. He convinced the court that this man deserved bail, only to come back a few months later to be charged with murder. Tim, there are good men out there, but it is difficult to know the good ones. We have another comment here saying: as serious as the situation is, I just hope it does not put the police in a position that as soon as they get a call from a woman or neighbors of domestic abuse in a household, that they don't go guns blazing ready to shoot to kill, but be professional and respond to the matter as quick as possible and take all necessary precautions to deal with the matter professionally and adequately. We live in a civil city, and no matter how heinous the crime and how much we despise the murderer, he too deserves his day in court with legal representation. Let's hope that the prosecutor does a very good job. Tim, that gave me goosebumps when I heard you said that this 2-year-old may be asking, where is my mommy, if only she knew. A few comments here reading: St. Lucians need to be more proactive. They should start painting face murals of Joy, Kimberly, and others on public walls, CDC, government buildings, etc. If things can be fixed, then leave. Team, if professionals make mistakes, why don't you believe that ordinary people do not make mistakes when voting for a party? We have another comment here reading: I know a number of professional and responsible individuals who applied for firearm permits nearly 5 years ago, yet they are still waiting to be called for an interview. The PM dismantled the old system where the Commissioner of Police had the final say and replaced it with a board. However, the system now appears to be stalled while illegal firearms remain widespread on the streets. Tim, because they don't care. Yopakadi chukum. Their voices are erased. Tim, they are busy trying to get vaccines for snake bites. Imagine, vaccines for snake bites and not antivenoms, but vaccines. We have more comments from our Facebook page saying, it is up to us Lucians to determine who is authentic and who isn't. Most advocates are just opportunists when it benefits their narrative. I always say it, these people don't truly care. It only matters when it hits home. If they don't have a personal connection to you, see for yourself. Very true, Tim. A lot of women don't care about other women. We have another comment saying, Tim, the only time these women have a mouthpiece, especially Allison, is when it comes to Alan Chastney. Moi-même, St. Lucia is just not a real place. So he didn't know that Teresa and the other people were here and what they were going through. You taught them to capitalize on any little loophole or opportunities. Now you want to talk at them saying you know them. Another comment here saying, so you want the people to show their faces so that you can penalize them. You see why the people are afraid to speak out. The vendors wanting their identity censored says more about victimization they fear from elected officials. Is this guy really a minister? No sympathy. Wow. Another comment here saying, when the season is closed, they're voting for you, boss. Don't be surprised 2 weeks from now, he comes out and says, I never said that. Castries now has its own prime minister. And our final comment, so why even offer them a temp location in the off-season? Most politicians listen to and care for people when their jobs are on the line.
Thanks so much, Jante, for that update. Somebody says via WhatsApp, I know people have been saying that the system failed this young lady. While I do agree to a certain extent, I believe the people who really failed this young lady were the people around her. Tim, you mean nobody around her couldn't ask her to leave the island? For the first time he was remanded. The first time he was remanded was sufficient time for this young lady to pack up and go. And this was the only way she could have been saved. Only way was to get out of St. Lucia. I don't agree with that comment. I'll tell you why. Are you suggesting, therefore, that every woman who turns to the system for protection, and those women are failed, their cries, their pleas are ignored, what they should do is to find the financial resources, take a plane and go overseas for their own safety, for their peace of mind? How many women and their families can afford to come up with that kind of money? Could they can afford the relocation? What it will take to be relocated? And also, what we should be doing is ensuring that the system functions sufficiently efficient that no woman has to leave St. Lucia when they believe their lives are being threatened. Their life is at stake. So the same could happen if, for example, an ordinary individual in the community, there's a gang leader threatening their life. What they should do? Pack up their things, their belongings, take their children, travel overseas when they cannot afford it. What we should be doing is applying the pressure on those people who are supposed to be effectively manning our systems so that people do not find themselves in that kind of predicament, in that kind of situation where they, have to go through all the trouble of getting money to travel overseas. Why do we have those various government departments? Why do we have those institutions? All you're doing is, therefore, giving the perpetrators of such crimes the upper hand. And they will go and seek some other victim. And for every individual whose life has been threatened, what they should do pack up and leave and travel. Before you know it, St. Lucia will be empty. Let's continue. Let's see if we have another call on the landline. In the meantime, let me go through a WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, Tim, I know why the UK removed our visa access, because so many Lucians are seeking asylum because the state cannot protect its people. That's according to a WhatsApp message. The other one says, for too long, we have been making the white investors and visitors believe they are better than us, St. Lucians. We treat them as if they are royal, but we treat our own people with disregard and no respect for each other. According to a WhatsApp message. Another WhatsApp message, somebody says, I heard you ask about the silent women who have not spoken on Joy's death, but Catherine Seeley's challenged the authorities about the Haitians being held by the police, but not a word about Joy, the St. Lucian woman who gets battered, or the increasing crime which continues to kill both our women and young men. The Haitians' human rights means more than what is happening to us in St. Lucia. Hypocrisy at its best. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Still to come, more of your calls, your WhatsApp messages, and of course our discussion right here on NewsSpin.
Advance your career at Lightspark Training with a globally recognized certification. Conveniently located on High Street, Castries, Lightspark offers a wide range of programs to make the most of your career. Certifications in project management, risk management, quality management, marketing, ACC accounting, human resources, Microsoft, Cisco, and IT technician certification, graphic design, web design, and programming. Complete a diploma in accounting in 6 months or a bachelor's degree in just over a year. Call us today at 451-8918 or visit us at www.lightspark.com.
Compagnie Courant Lucilec a informé public là qui place service pratique là en maison Blue Coral Asso la 8 pont en Castries qui fermé by public là pour tout temps commencer vendredi 29 mai à 4h après-midi. Lucilec a pris action cela quand il a fait plusieurs changements en opération et fait plan pour délivrer plus meilleurs services. Lucilec a aussi informé que bureau service pratique en maison Carilec à sur la rue Désir en sans souci ouvert et paré pour recevoir et bail pratique les services. Lucilec a encouragé les pratiques qui a servi bureau Blue Coral pour servir l'autre bureau yo en sans souci Rodney Bay et Benvieux-Fort. Les pratiques aussi ni choix pour visiter yo à sur internet là à lucilec.com. Lucilec a chain commitment pour porter un service qui reliable à l'aise vous joindre avec bonne qualité qui ça toute pratique les besoins. Management Lucilec regrette n'importe déconvenance qui peut en cause par place Blue Coral là qui fermé et car oui merci les pratiques pour l'accompagner.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbouté at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Ouais, monsieur, pas jodi moi la ka espérer plein bon glow. Si t'en la pani pressure. Moi ni tongue, moi ni glow, me money pressure. Ou savez ça moi besoin? A pomme. Ça c'est bêtise. Moi ka aller ko Europa. Yo ni toute pomme pour toute condition. Qui pour kay, qui pour business. Yo ni pli mer pour pomme cette ici. Yo ka ranger pomme aussi qui besoin service. Prendre pomme yo c'est Léo. Pomme ça c'est major. Ils bon tout bonnement. Tant si ten moins actuellement. Glo ka fonte. Europa ni pomme glo Léo en de couleur neuf, orange et gris. Visitez Europa ambassade Gozile. Les mots au téléphone 452-0763.
Flow makes your next phone upgrade easy. Add postpaid to your internet plan and score a Samsung Galaxy for as low as $47 a month. It's the smartest way to an interest-free premium phone upgrade. Don't let anything stand between you and that new phone feeling. Step into your upgrade with confidence. Visit us in store and sign up today. We keep your rhythm flowing. Terms and conditions apply.
is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Action is heating up in the 2026 Blackheart SLFAU 20 Knockout Football Tournament. The round of 16 continues with explosive matchups this weekend as the future legends of St. Lucia battle for glory. Friday, May 29th at the Philip Masla Grounds in View Fort at 7 p.m. LeClaire takes on Miku in a massive showdown. Then at 9 p.m., Chozelle faces Mabuya Valley in what promises to be another thriller. Soufriere, look out. On Sunday, May 31st, the Blackheart Fever is coming your way as we light up the Soufriere Mini Stadium with the West Coast Showdown. At 7 p.m., Kenry's clashes with Roseau. And from 9 p.m., home crowd favorites Soufriere go head-to-head with Ants Leray. Only the strongest will survive. General admission, $20. The 2026 Blackheart SLFAU 20 Knockout Football Tournament, where future legends rise.
An supposé, ça c'est dernier kwas de l'eau. En temps cette lisi, tant ka wem ka vini pli long ek pli wed, ek sous de l'eau nou ka cheche. Ek la plia ka tobe pli fort ek pli terrible, ça ka dommage kay nou ek système de l'eau nou. Mais nous sa changer ça. Nous sa conserver de l'eau ek protéger sous de l'eau nou. Chaque ti démarche nous point ça wede. Wasko ka travaille ensemble et puis agent pour manager sous de l'eau et ka mettre pour siwe de l'eau en temps qui ka veni. Mais nous besoin si pour. Ensemble, nous sa protéger de l'eau nous, santé nous et ka siwe de l'eau pour l'autre génération. Un petit pas, ça mène gros changement. On nous protéger de l'eau nous et la vie nous pour temps qui ka veni. Pour plus d'informations, visitez wascostlucia.com.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Don't forget, today it's Wednesday, and if it's Wednesday, News Make Live 8:30 airs on DBS television. And my guest this evening, former government minister Mrs. Sarah Flood Warber. She will be on News Make Live this evening, 8:30, and that is on DBS television. What's that message? RF even saying they're hiding their faces. Well, the vendors, that's what they voted for. All you was hearing is white man gimmick, but there is much more to come. So brace yourself for hardship to come under the SLP administration. That's according to a WhatsApp message. Somebody says that I'm a victim of domestic violence. He always said that he would take away my vision, always hit me in the face, resulting in black eyes. Due to this abuse, I'm partially blind, always threatened to kill me, but the Almighty took him before. Women run as far as from abusive relationships, it won't get better. I can write a book about my life with an abusive partner. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, as much as we should be protected in one area, but on the other hand, some women are also looking for death. When some ladies will have more than one partner and will give both parties owners of children, so ladies, stop it before. All right, that's no justification for taking the life of someone. Another WhatsApp message, and somebody says that the government sent everyone home, so they have to compensate. everyone. Another one says that tourists only come to the island, but he sounds like the Prime Minister when saying he didn't understand the impact of tourism to St. Lucia. We'll see if we have a call on the line. In the meantime, we have a WhatsApp message. Somebody says the Prime Minister and the Housing Minister are a perfect example of the tail wagging the dog. Again, according to a WhatsApp message. And somebody says there, where is Mary Francis? She was a strong advocate for men a few years ago. To the best of my knowledge, some of these men were guilty of the crime they were charged with, and she stood up for them. Is she mute now? I need to hear her voice on these domestic violence issues. That's according to a WhatsApp message. And let's see there. Somebody says there, I really appreciated you for getting the perspective of this intelligent young lady. Too often we ignore the voice of the younger generation. I too have a daughter around the same age. She wants to come home for Carnival. Her safety is my number one priority. Some more of your WhatsApp messages. You played something after the gun amnesty failed, where the Prime Minister said the people are holding their guns to protect themselves. And let's see there. Don't forget the number to call, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says, contrary to what Mr. Frederick says, local patrons to the arcade are just as integral as tourists. So the vendors do pay their bills off revenue derived during the off season. And another WhatsApp message. Okay. Let's see there if we have some more of your messages to go through. All right, okay, let's see there. Somebody says there, call out Jadia Emmanuel while she busy bullying people on Facebook. Okay, I think I could go through this one. Another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, the assassination of Joyce St. Omer shocked the conscience of the nation. It gripped the attention of a country already seeking answers for the numerous killings in Fair Helen that happened before. Much has been said, little has been done. The gruesome murder has raised many questions, but it is my view that we refuse to look the elephant in the eye. In the coming days, I want to make some contributions that will force us to face the elephant. But first, let's start with Operation Clean House. For any meaningful action to take place and for us to move forward in any significant manner, some people need to stay out of this conversation, especially those who were given the opportunity to do so by way of the ministerial appointments period. They should stop flooding the zone with the tired, meaningless statements that have not helped one woman on this island. Their silly statements that they pull out of their dusty bags should not fool you to raise your voice in order to raise their status from obscurity to UN-sponsored even. And there are those who still trying to chase one more Hail Mary through the dice they prove their relevance. They had their chance and they squandered it. Let only those who have not been tainted by politics, close association to certain individuals, lead that charge. That's according to a WhatsApp message. Somebody says the High Team can't wait to hear the Calypsos this year. Well, you're late because there have been, I think, a round of Calypso tents taken to the stage last weekend. And there are a number of other Calypsos that are out on social media, and I think they're played on radio stations on the island. Some more of your messages. Let's see if it goes through at least one more message before I turn my attention now to you, Jante. Somebody says to him, good day. Once some men can't get the pompon tabac, they get mad, they vex, and that's so sad. Again, that's according to a WhatsApp message. Good afternoon to you again, Shante. Let's find out what's happening in the chat rooms.
Starting off on YouTube, our first comment reads, when they asked the Prime Minister and Minister of National Security how he planned to tackle the crime problem, he said, I am not the policeman my father was. They knew about the lack of accountability for CIP funds, the bad GPH secret deal, and the reckless borrowing, but they still voted for PJP and the SLP government. I think in this instant, the judge who granted bail should be held accountable. Another YouTube comment reading, what about the 2 students who crashed the principal's windshield? I have never heard anyone addressing the matter. Politicians have been preaching and injecting hate through politics for a long time now. The results are out and you guys don't know how to deal with it. On Facebook, our first comment reads, the police need a boot camp. Go overseas to where and to whom? Some of y'all just make no sense. You can't have pepper spray or tasers. Obtaining a pistol permit is almost impossible depending on police is laughable. Seeking a restraining order is instant failure. We have another comment here saying, I will leave my country and go to live on the streets of another country. What a way to think. The Nook or Alison Je, Tim. I disagree. This is a home, St. Lucia. She should feel safe and not have to run. The government needs to help fix the system. A few comments here reading, a country is supposed to protect its citizens. Our police need a shake-up. You really can't legally have pepper spray to protect yourself. In 2026, the year of nonsense, how are you to protect yourself? We have another comment reading, the only time police reach in a hurry is when you call and say you found a container of drugs. Some of the police officers should not have been in the police force to begin with. They have no empathy and respect when you go to make a report about a man. They spin stories like, because the man doesn't want you anymore, you're coming in to report him. Why is having pepper spray still illegal in 2026? We have more comments from our Facebook page reading, but Tim, when they die in the country, it will still be empty. So many women that are left to go. Why is domestic more prevalent amongst black communities than other communities? We have another comment here saying, Timothy, that is why people go into protective custody. So if that means getting out of St. Lucia, let it be. No one can be protected in St. Lucia. They must get out. Back to you, Tim.
Thanks so much, Jante. Hi to you watching the broadcast over in the US. And that person says, the black widow spider, not pompon tabac. Let's see. I think we have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. We lost that call. Let's see if we could go through some more of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there, Tim, let me respond. Okay, let's take a call on the landline. Good afternoon to you. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Tim.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I am okay. How about you?
I'm okay, but you're very elusive.
You can't. You've been trying to get the line.
And it's over a month now.
Oh, Mr. Murray. Sorry about that. That's Mr. Louis Murray.
No, I'm only teasing today.
Okay.
Not a month.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Murray. Always a pleasure to hear from you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, I forced myself to come out. Well, I shouldn't say forced, but I decided to come out on 2 aspects of your current topic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tim, you remember Mary Ratcliffe?
Yes, I referenced her just a few hours ago, maybe an hour ago.
Right. That's about 50 years ago, I think. Around
maybe a little less than 50.
A little less?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Now, she made a report to the police station, threats to her life from her common partner, yes?
Yeah.
She was sent back home with no form of protection, so to speak. I think the same day or the day after, her head was cut off, yes?
Yes.
Right. So that means she was failed by us, if you want to say the system. And I'll come to that later. Whether it is law enforcement or the system, she was sent back to her home, she lost her life. That's, you say, a little less than 40.
You said 50, yeah, less than 50.
Less than 50 years ago. So, 25 years later from then, that's 2002. You remember Verlinda Joseph?
Yes.
Right. She had 2 or 3 active cases in the court for sexual assault. That's about 11-year-old girl. I think about 11, 12, I think is her age. Maybe a little less.
About 12.
12.
Mm-hmm.
She was murdered whilst her cases are active in the court. Strangulation, and there was, I think, report that a noxious substance, I think it was Gramoxone, poured down her throat.
Yeah, so Mary Ratcliffe was killed in 1989, so about 37 years ago.
Okay, all right, so you're right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, 25 years after, or a little less than that, Valinda Joseph takes the headline. And no less a person than the current Attorney General, Petrus Compton, said the justice system let her down. Remember that?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Right. So we move now to Alana Bernard. And she did all the right things. She filed her report. Her case is coming up. And she was murdered just before the case was heard. 3 children left behind. Now, I don't know if you want to say the justice system or whether it is law enforcement, but somewhere along the boundary of the of law enforcement or the justice system, something failed her because she did the right things and she lost her life. Right. Now, shortly thereafter, you remember, what's her name now? Jolie Williams?
Kimberly DeLeon Williams. Is it
No, well, Kimberly, you slipped that one. Tim, you're speaking on my behalf. Kimberly, I wasn't even going to Kimberly because that's an unsolved matter. And I'm not too sure about how you would say the justice system. Maybe law enforcement is the issue. But I want to go to Jolie Williams. Yeah?
Yeah.
And Jolie Williams made reports about threats to her life. And Jolie was, let me see, Jolie Williams. Jolie was killed, and justice system again. That was the claim. Justice system let her down. Number of reports that were made. Then we now at the door of Joyce Santome, and I think Joyce Santome is probably the worst from what I have heard and what I've read. And this was a lady whose situation was crying for help, assistance. She too lost her life. So, Tim, what have we learned from Mary Ratcliffe to Joy Santome? What has the state learned in protecting women, vulnerable women who have made reports of, abuse and maybe threats to their life? Evidently, we have heard nothing. We have learned nothing, sorry. Now, we have to be careful. A month or two ago, I think less, maybe about a month ago, we opened maybe a state-of-the-art multi-million-dollar police station in Grozile, and this was something that was highlighted. But how was that police station? How did it help Joy Santome? Because from what I understand or gather, a report was made, I think, within the Grozile precinct, and maybe it was referred to ancillary as she should have gone down there, or whatever. Her workplace was in Grozile. So what part did Grozile really play in helping to keep this lady alive today? And I'm saying that because somebody earlier on in your talk spoke about help given to the police cars and buildings and so. So here is this spanking building which as far as Joy Saint-Omer or her family are concerned, meant nothing. So, it's really an indictment on our justice system. Now, Tim, you know, I have on one or two of your shows we've had the discussion about eyewitness protection, and I told you this is my opinion that as far as I am concerned, eyewitness protection is a no-no. That ain't going nowhere in St. Lucia. We do not have the capacity, the resources, the finances, the logistics to run any kind of eyewitness protection program. Then I recently, I think on your show, I heard somebody sing about protection for the complainant. Well, if you cannot handle an eyewitness protection program, I don't see how you're going to add to that protection of a complainant, because that involves, it's the same thing, logistics and funds, which the state just does not have the capacity to do. So I think we really, the country is really in a bind as far as that is concerned, and there doesn't seem to be any resolution in sight. Now, I want to differ, Tim, with you yesterday. I think you spoke about the death penalty being a punishment, but you didn't see it as a deterrent. I beg to differ, Tim, because I think that evidently a lot of the people who have committed these murders, these perpetrators, they're really not seeing anything happening. As a guy said, he'll go in jail for 7 years, come out, he's out on the wrong, she's under the ground. So I believe that it will serve as that's my view, as a significant deterrent, because, I mean, young people can be adventurous, but nobody would not deliberately want to lose their life. I mean, that's almost like suicide. So I think that if you know...
No, but if they're capable, if young people, certain individuals are capable of committing suicide, they can decide to take matters into their own hands, commit heinous crimes, and not be afraid to go to face the hangman's noose, to go to the gallows.
Well, where I will differ with you a little bit on that, Tim, is that the suicide thing is a whole... I mean, we're now going into the mind, the mental state of the mind, which makes these people succumb to that kind of temptation. But I don't think that mental state is the same that applies to criminals. I mean, these guys are brazen. However, I will say that when you talk about death penalty, and somebody I think raised that on your show yesterday, you first have to talk about making an arrest. Mm-hmm. You have to talk about getting
a conviction,
proper evidence, integrity. You have to talk about a successful prosecution through the court. Then you have to look at the right of appeal. Somebody, I think it was the journalist, mentioned Morgan and Pratt.
Yeah.
But the thing with Morgan and Pratt is that, and that again, 5 years. So, although there's a time for an appeal of 5 years, but I mean, what appeal is going to be heard within 5 years? Hardly likely. So it comes back again. You might get an initial decision of death by hanging or whatever it is, but it's just within time before that guy is going to be back on in the prison, because we don't have the capacity to run the required appeals. If you're going to go court of appeal and you want to go to CCJ within 5 years. So again, it's a bind. We ain't going anywhere if even you have the death penalty. That possibly will not come through. But the last thing, Tim, I want to touch on is systems. And Tim, that's something I wanted to comment on it to you maybe over a year or so ago. And I'm really, I don't know what to say, but I'm just so pissed at when people talk about the system. Tim, a system is an inanimate entity, you know.
Yes, it is.
So when I don't know why there's the shift from the system to the people who are involved in this. It's not the system. We heard a police officer, I think 2 days ago, say that flouting the protection order, there is a penalty for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that seemed to have, just been forgotten or disappeared. So most times, I think, I'm not saying that every system is perfect and you can't do a little tweak. But that carte blanche thing, you hear people say, oh, the system. To me, that's nonsense. It is the people who make up the system. So don't blame the system, blame the people. You get people, lack of integrity, people are accepting money or reward. And I say our systems are not, I will say that our systems are not being manned, they are being manipulated. Because you hear in some instances, if you want to bypass the system, you pass a little package. Who is taking the package? It's not the system, it's the people in the system. So I get very annoyed, so to speak, when I hear people saying about systems. So for me, there's nothing wrong with the system. As I said, you can tweak it a little bit. It is the people. Let's not run away and blame the system. Blame the people who are, as I say, not manning the system, but are manipulating the system. So, Tim, that's it for me.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure hearing from you. Just heard there from forensic scientist Mr. Louis Murray. This is the most monitored talk show in the world.
Advance your career at LightSpark Training with a globally recognized certification. Conveniently located on High Street, Castries, LightSpark offers a wide range of programs to make the most of your career. Certifications in project management, risk management, quality management, marketing, ACC accounting, human resources, Microsoft, Cisco, and IT technician certification, graphic design, web design, and programming. Complete a diploma in accounting in 6 months or a bachelor's degree in just over a year. Call us today at 451-8918 or visit us at www.lightspark.com.
Lusulec wishes to advise customers that its customer service kiosk located at the Blue Coral Mall in Castries will be permanently closed to the public on Friday the 29th of May at 4 p.m. This closure is being undertaken as part of Lusulec's ongoing operational adjustments and service delivery planning. Lusulec is pleased to advise that its customer service office at the Carolec building on Daisy Avenue in San Souci is now open and ready to receive and serve walk-in customers. Customers who previously accessed services at the Blue Coral kiosk are encouraged to visit this location or our other offices in Rodney Bay and Vieux-Fort. Our remote options, including the virtual service desk on our website, lusulec.com, is also available. Lusulec remains committed to providing convenient, accessible, and efficient service options to meet the needs of our customers. The management of Lusulec regrets any inconvenience that the kiosk closure may cause and thanks customers for their understanding.
Need branded apparel that looks sharp and shows up on time? Welcome to Imprinted Designs, where every stitch counts. We specialize in custom embroidery and t-shirt printing for businesses, teams, events, you name it. From embroidered logos on polished Oxford shirts, available in a variety of colors for men and women, to bold, high-quality printed tees that turn heads, we do it all. Bring your own shirts or choose from ours. Small runs, big orders, rush jobs, no problem. At Imprinted Designs, we're built for speed, efficiency, and clean professional results delivered on time, every time. So if you want your brand to stand out, not wait around, come down to Imprinted Designs at the Valmore Plaza or hit us up at 451-2920 or email address imprinteddesignsSLU@gmail.com. Imprinted Designs, where every stitch counts.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Stop paying full price. With Flow, you can slash your bill in half. You heard right. Cut your mobile bill in half when you add mobile to internet. That's the most reliable Wi-Fi at home. Plus, all the data you need on the go. So don't wait. Double your connection and double your value for half the price. Add mobile to internet today. Visit in-store or online at discoverflow.co for more details.
Ouais, messieurs, pas jodi moi la ka espérer plein bon glow. Si t'en la pani pressure. Moi ni tongue, moi ni glow, me money pressure. Ou savez ça moi besoin? A pomme. Ça c'est bêtise. Moi ka aller ko Europa. Yo ni toute pomme pour toute condition. Qui pour kay, qui pour business. Yo ni pli mer pour pomme cette ici. Yo ka ranger pomme aussi qui besoin service. Run pump yo c'est Léo. Pump ça c'est Major. Ils bon tout bonnement. Tant si ten moins actuellement. Glo ka fonte. Europa ni pump glo Léo à de couleur neuf, orange et gris. Visitez Europa à Massad Gozile. Les mots au téléphone 452-0763.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. We're getting all set to conclude our broadcast. Let me turn my attention to you, Janti. Let's find out what is happening in the chat room.
On YouTube, we have a comment reading, PJP helped to create the climate of tolerance in the country when he said, go in their faces and tell them you lose. Don't let the vendors trick you all. They got their fair share already, so they must be smiling behind doors. Don't be fooled. Where is Catherine Seeley's? Another commentary reading, the Bible says where there is no vision, the people will perish. On Facebook, we have a comment reading, I believe that hearing the threatening voice notes in this case made a big difference. Mary Radcliffe, is that the Shaka case? I just don't understand how Lucians voted for this. Lucians just love misery. Another comment here is saying, Joy is the fourth St. Omer to be murdered. St. Lucia has no justice, no laws. So very sad. Tim, we are making any progress when killers are boldly saying, I am only going to get 7 years in prison. We're in 2026, and the system is just as broken, if not worse, than in 1989. No improvements. A few commentary reading, isn't law enforcement part of the justice system? Caller, the new Hall of Justice will solve all crime. Of course, I learned something. Don't do the right thing. That is what I've learned. We have another comment saying, nothing PJP has done for law enforcement can undo the devastating impact of disbanding the K9 unit. Why isn't there an agreement with CARICOM countries for a witness protection program? Someone in St. Lucia needs witness protection. Why can't we send them to St. Vincent until the case is done? Because it doesn't work. Someone who is in the witness protection in Dominica got killed 2 weeks ago. Sold out by the police. We have more comments from our Facebook page saying, well said, caller. The GOSL has to pay out $3 million for having persons on remand for all those years and cases not being called. Now I am hearing courts will be done on Zoom to speed up the process. And our final comment, that guy should never be walking the streets again, listening to the tapes that are being released.
Thanks so much, Jante, for this, the final update from you regarding comments in our chat rooms. Let's turn our attention now to the NewsSpin question of the day. The NewsSpin question of the day reads, of what use is a protection order in St. Lucia? Of what use is a protection order in St. Lucia? And finally, the NewsSpin news of the day. Ebola hit Democratic Republic of Congo faces catastrophic collision of disease and conflict, according to the World Health Organization. So the World Health Organization is warning Ebola hit Democratic Republic of Congo faces catastrophic collision of disease and conflict. That's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. Join me this evening, 7 o'clock in the first instance for the DBS News World, and 8:30 Newsmaker Live. My guest this evening is lawyer and former MP, Mrs. Sarah Flood Barbara. In the meantime, please don't forget, like the video, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click the notification bell to help the NewsSpin YouTube channel grow. Goodbye.